Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Home Staging Talk Show Live. I'm Jenny Norris, your host. Home Staging Talk Show Live is a weekly conversation with the home staging industry where we talk about things that are coming, things that are going, trends, challenges we have with our business. We bring outside speakers in to talk about business success, and we are in our 96th episode, believe it or not. So I'm happy to be joining you live. And as you come on, if you could let me know you see me and hear me, that would be great. We have two guests for you today, Amber Griffiths and Amy Powers, who are both speaking at the IHOSP Virtual Conference and Expo, and they're going to be giving us a little sneak peek about their topic. And of course, we'll chat about other things as well. It's always fun to have them on the show. Before we get started, I did have some announcements to make, as always. So first of all, of course, our Conference and Expo, which is happening at the end of September, the 29th, 30th, and October 1st. So the 29th will be sessions, general sessions, information that we all need to learn no matter what level we're at. And it's all about mindset and success. All the speakers are geared towards that particular type of topic, which is great. Um, Keynote business speaker that day will be Chris Widener. And of course, he's a best-selling author. He's written his 21st book, which is being released, I believe, this month or October. And so excited to hear him and have him share his wisdom with all of us. And of course, he's known for working with Zig Ziglar, Jim Rohn, very well-known positive motivational speakers, authors, um, and professional motivational people just in general. So excited to have him joining us on the 29th. The 30th, we're going to have Donnie Fowler, who's our marketing keynote speaker, and he's going to help us crack the code with Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and so forth, and kind of bypass some of these algorithms that tend to limit our exposure, but also teach us what we need to be posting and why. Even something as simple as how many hashtags should you have on Facebook? And if you go beyond that, what happens if you put too many on and so forth? So it'll be practical information that you can take and apply in your business right away. So he's going to kick off the 30th. And then following his session, we're going to have all of our breakout sessions. So whether you're a beginner, an intermediate, an advanced intermediate, or an advanced stager, you'll have different topics that you'll be able to learn from. And of course, all of the sessions are being recorded. So if you are not able to watch one of the sessions, other sessions that aren't in your level, let's say, you can, after the conference, we'll have access to all of those. You'll be able to watch all of the segments at your leisure. So it's breakout sessions, and that'll take us to the end of the day. And then on the 1st is our designation. Hey, Melody. Is our designation as the IHOSP Cultural Diversity Expert, IHOSP CDE. So that is being taught to all attendees. You earn credentials. So our conferences always give you something additional, not just information, but also credentials that qualify you to be more educated in our industry and also work with your clients in a better way. So that'll be October 1st. Excited to hear our 4 different speakers, plus our keynote, Ravi Huthi Singh. He'll be sharing on cultural diversity and inclusivity. And we have Kevin Tain, Deepti Nayar, Orlando Reyes, and Deborah Plowden also sharing. So I'm excited for that day as well. So that's kind of the rundown. If you haven't gotten your ticket yet, make sure to get that. We have some special things we're announcing today to help those that, if you're in a situation where you may not be able to afford a ticket, we're going to have some scholarships going out. You'll have the opportunity to nominate somebody. If you have a colleague or somebody who really needs to attend, you can nominate them for a spot with one of the scholarships or gifts that we are issuing. And because I never want money to be a reason why people can't learn. And so we're going to be offering that to people in the industry. So if that's you, make sure to let us know. There'll be a couple of things you have to do in order to get on the list to qualify for that. But we're excited. Joseph Hecker's producing the show, and there's some teasers that he's been putting out, which are really fun. And so you can get an idea that it's not going to be people just, talking from the head up for most people. Moving around, there'll be graphics, it's interactive. We've got some great vendor segments we'll be sharing, sort of a QVC moment. You'll be able to have show specials that will only be offered during the show, during the conference. And so you'll be able to take advantage of that. All right. Let's see here. Here it is. So again, we've been using this theme for the last couple of months. Fear has two meanings: forget everything and run, or face everything and rise. And I'm choosing to do the latter, which is face everything and rise. And life does get challenging; things get thrown our way that we're not expecting, and so we don't, necessarily want to. Some days I do feel like just hiding and not doing anything, but the reality is life has to happen and go on, and so we need to face everything and rise to the challenges that we face. And thankfully, we have a wonderful community that supports all of our members. And so, something is happening in your life that's challenging, don't feel like you have to keep it a secret. There are people you can share with that will either have gone through the same thing or be able to be sympathetic and empathetic to what you're going through. But, we don't know what's going to happen just in general with the economy and COVID and so forth. And as we continue month by month, it's just sort of a crapshoot. So we plan for the best, we expect the best, and then we shift when we need to. So I just love that saying. I'm happy to share that this week coming up is our Worldwide Staging Service Week. So it's always right around on 9/11 every year. And our wonderful IHOS chapters that exist all over the world will be doing service projects in support of Worldwide Staging Service Week. And that's to the IHOS Foundation, which is a 501c3 nonprofit. And I mean, it provides the funds for these projects. And so we'll be doing a GoFundMe type fundraiser for the foundation because we normally fundraise at our conference live. We have a lot of really great things that are given away, from trips to education and so forth. And we're not going to have that opportunity to do that live this year. So we're going to do something a little different to fundraise for the foundation, and be able to hopefully give some money to the chapters depending on how much we raise for the foundation. So Worldwide Staging Service Week has been going on for over a decade. I think we're in our, I want to say, 11th year. And these are service projects that the chapters pick in their region to provide to help. It could be an individual, it could be a family, it could be a group, it could be any kind of entity. And so they either, because we're stagers, we tend to enhance, beautify, improve a facility, a person's home, and help them. But it could be something as simple as working at a food bank. One year in Denver, we did a thing for the Give to Denver orphans and brought Christmas gifts for these kids because it was the only gifts they were going to receive that year. So no matter what, it's just a time to focus on your community and to give back to somebody less that is less fortunate, that is in need. And so those projects will be happening starting this coming week and probably on into October. We have people overseas doing projects. So I'll be happy to get all the pictures, create a montage, and be able to share that with everybody. And just really appreciate our chapters who are providing these service projects on behalf of the IHOS Foundation and Worldwide Staging Service Week. So excited for that. So thank you, everybody who's participating in that. Our Staging Industry Awards, the submissions had to be turned in by Monday at midnight, and I know there were some technical challenges for some of you. We had a lot of people that had no problems submitting. So if you did, it was on your end because the form was working, but it could have been a Wi-Fi issue or a browser issue, perhaps. So, and these are all things that I don't really control. But the bottom line is, if you did have challenges submitting and you didn't get a confirmation, that's the key. Because when I submitted, it gave you a confirmation. I went to my email. It showed me exactly what I had put in, so I know it went through. If you didn't get that, you need to email me, and I can go through and create the submission for you in my spare time. But I'm happy to do that because I know people want to be recognized. So, Staging Industry Awards, we had the categories for best vacant, regular price, luxury price, small square footage, occupied, regular, occupied, luxury. And then individual awards were the Rising Star, Trailblazer, the Chapter of the Year, Barb Shore Staging Excellence Award, and IHOS Spirit. And then we also recognize small team, large team, and individual stagers who don't have a team. So there's lots of ways to get recognized. And my belief is awards they're important because they let us know that what we're doing is good work. And more importantly, let our future clients and current clients know that what we do is good work. And so the reason people have awards on their websites and so forth is to qualify them as somebody that is somebody that people want to work with. And so it allows us to market ourselves. So it's a marketing tool, right? Recognition and awards. And so it's less about me as a stager telling another stager, man, you do really great work. It's more about allowing people to get recognition so they can get more business and to be recognized in the industry. So, when it comes to awards, there are so many people who are deserving. I don't think I'll ever move to a place as a chairwoman that we identify 3 people or 5 people in the best of category, because to me, the same people would get recognized over and over because they've dialed in, they do great work. So the only way to do that would be to eliminate those people from future recognition so that other people could get recognized. And so it's always a challenge when it comes to the awards. I know that I'm never going to make everybody happy with how we determine who gets recognized. But my belief is that it's not just 5 people in an industry that deserve to be recognized as the best in a category. So there's a lot of other factors involved too. So I did have people submit the budget for their staging, because somebody who has a $2,200 budget versus a $12,000 budget, yeah, the product's going to look different. The staging's going to look different because the budget is much more generous in a 12,000 versus a 2,200, and yet they both might qualify in their categories as a luxury property. And did the properties sell, and did the stager do a good job with pulling the room together and so forth? So that's what we're going to be looking at as far as evaluating the different submissions. So again, if you tried to submit and you did not get a confirmation, you need to reach out to me. You can email me, Denny at ihosp.com. So JENNIE at IAHSP.com. So we're excited again to be issuing these, and those announcements will come out on October 1st. You'll find out who won. We'll give all the recognition on October 1st live um, in the afternoon. Excited for that. So, here with you, my little things down here. I think that's everything. All right. So we are moving this week, my family and I. So we've got boxes everywhere, and it's a bit chaotic. And as much as I was trying to be organized with, I have movers hired and so forth. People have taken the initiative to just kind of plunk stuff in boxes and take partial things over to the new house. And so I have a feeling it's going to be a total cluster this weekend. Anyway, it's nice that it's a local move, but it's, trying to get everything packed up. And I'm purging. That's the big thing too, is purge, purge. Thanks, Jennifer. Um, and we are excited. And some of you, know the story. And you know, we've rented since we moved here, because when we sold our place in California, it was a short sale. And this was 2009. And the market had completely tanked in Sacramento. So there's a fruit lifeline there, I apologize. So yeah, the market had collapsed, and so a lot of people lived through the demise of the real estate market. That area was hit particularly hard. Houses went down to lost almost 70% of their value in some places there, and so we made a conscious decision to move to Colorado. We short sold and moved in 2009, and then back then you were penalized for 3 years for a short sale, meaning you couldn't get a credit card, you couldn't do anything, you couldn't purchase. They blocked you from being able to buy, and 7 years for a foreclosure. So for 3 years, we couldn't do anything. And I remember it was Thanksgiving 2009 we moved out here, so it was Thanksgiving 2012 when I'm standing in the line at Kohl's for Black Friday and managed to get a Kohl's card. I thought, I'm not going to get one, and this person's walking around and said, "Who wants to apply for a card?" And I said, "I'll try. They're not going to accept me because I've been blackballed." And sure enough, I get the card, and they walk me past all these people in line at Black Friday. I thought, "Oh my God, these people are going to be so mad at me because I just bypassed this giant line of probably 200 people." I'm kidding. Anyhow, got the card, and the veil was lifted. But at that point, then our first child had graduated from high school and was going into college. And then 2 years later, the second one, and 2 years later, the third one, and then 1 year later, the fourth one. So we've been having to pay college tuition and support that aspect for our kids. So then it became trying to get the down payment. So I'm sharing this all with you because I know that there's some people that are in the same boat, that you want to be able to purchase. And um, for us, it's been 10 years being out of the game, and we were homeowners for 20 years prior to that. So it was something that was, humbling. And I'll say this, that a lot of times renters are looked down on. People take kind of a snobby attitude sometimes if you are renting versus owning. And then there's some really crappy renters out there that don't take care of their property, but that's not us. We've always taken care of the homes that we've lived in, but it was sort of a stigma. And so I just want to say with anyone else out there that if you're renting and so forth, we're not bad people. It's either financially you're not able to get it together. We're victims of the demise of the economy, like many, many other people. And we're just thankful that we're able to get back in the game and purchase a house. So we were considered first-time home buyers because it had been so long, but we certainly are not novices to owning homes. And that's why it was such a great thing to make it happen right now. And we tried in 2016, but the underwriters then negated all of my income for my role with Staged Homes because I was no longer an employee. I was the owner and had earned more money, and they just completely negated any money. I had worked with that company for at that point 11 years. So I think that's completely wrong, and I think that the underwriters are very discriminatory towards business owners, self-employed people. The hoops that we have to jump through, even the lender said this, the hoops that we have to jump through in order to purchase a house is extreme compared to somebody who's a W-2. And I think it's really unfair, the scrutiny that a business owner is under for somebody who owns a very well-established company. You can show profit and so forth. It's really disheartening. So to have gone through that in 2016 to today, 4 years later, I didn't want to get excited about the house until it literally closed, and it was right down to the wire. There were challenges and so forth with the more documents needed, et cetera. And so it really is a blessing, and we are very grateful to be able to have a home that's ours and own a little piece of Colorado. And so we're very excited for that. But I've learned a lot through the process. So any of you that are looking to do that, you can reach out to me because I've learned quite a bit about what you have to keep track of and what you need to provide. So you'll be prepared. So I got a little notice that Amber says you're ready to join the broadcast, but I don't see you in the studio. So Amber, I think you have to come back in. I'll bring Amy in first. So Amy, it's going to count down for you. Good morning.
Hello.
Look at your hair. It's gotten so long. I love
No,
it.
I was
Luscious.
noticing that too. Yeah,
Yeah, it's good. Just letting it grow.
I am, I guess. I've actually had one haircut in the last 6 months.
It's funny. My hair is like, this is about as long as I can get it without it looking really um thin, because I have a lot of hair, but it's not, it's fine. It's not real thick. You have thick hair though, don't you?
I have super thick hair, yes. It's
I should,
hot.
yeah. You can put it up. My son's like, Mom, you need to cut your hair. I'm like, no, because this way I can put it up in a ponytail or a bun if I need to. And anyway, so
Exactly. That's the one reason I keep it long.
well, so good to have you on. So good to see you.
Thank
How you doing?
you.
How's
I'm
business in
good.
Atlanta?
It's been pretty good. The market's pretty strong here. It's a seller's market in most places. There are some hyper local buyers markets, but overall, it's a seller's market.
It's weird because I thought this is, back when COVID happened, I thought, okay, nobody can put their houses in the market, or very few people can. So there'll be this huge pin up demand, and all these sellers are going to flood the market when they finally can, and it'll just flip into a buyer's market. And that's not what
Mhm.
happens. So it's the same thing here in Denver and most places where it's a seller's market. Things are selling, multiple offers. With our purchase, we put offers in on two other properties we didn't get. Multiple offers, we offered more than list. Other terms,
Mhm.
try to be as flexible as possible. Even the house we got was multiple offers. And the realtor basically took pity on us because we had shared with her, God, this is the third house we tried to purchase. And so she kind of, our offer was the strongest one as well. But it's still it's tense out there for buyers. So,
Mhm.
but that's sort of good for staging, although a lot of people still
Yes.
think, oh, we don't need a stage house, it's gonna sell, you know.
Well, I have stagers ask me every day, either online or they call me, how do you sell staging when it's a seller's market? And it's super easy. You just talk about what you just said, that it's an opportunity for multiple offers. And when staging creates that value, that it's worth every penny that they're asking for, and you get these multiple offers, it just helps the property sell so much smoother and for more money, which is a win-win for everybody.
Yeah,
It pays for itself
absolutely.
in a seller's market for sure.
Hey, Sandra, and I appreciate you saying that. I know, Sandra, I know you're back in your hometown, and I just thinking about you. I know you flew there, so I'm just sending you good thoughts and hugs, and I know you're missing
Yes.
your mom, and But I'm glad to see your face on here. So yeah, so you're going to be talking at the conference. So you're part of the niche services. So Amy's in a panel.
Yeah.
It's a 2 hour or two-part session. So there's 4 people on the panel. Each one will have enough time to really kind of delve into their area. So she'll be talking about short-term rental. Blair will be
Yeah.
talking about adding retail niche.
Hmm.
And Mendenhall will be sharing on remodeling and renovation niche for your services. Who am I forgetting?
June Carter.
Oh, June Carter, thank you. She's going to talk about working with seniors. So it's 4
Yes.
people. It's going to be a great panel. So you've become sort of like our go-to person for the short-term rental um, market, and it is a niche service. It's outside of the resale.
Right. Hmm. Yes, it is. A lot of people call it Airbnb, but the technical name is short-term rental. Staging is what we will learn and talk about. I do offer a 3-hour class, or almost 3 hours, where you can actually get a specialist designation through IHOS, which is exciting. The panel, we're going to be talking about certain things that are going to help entice you to want to be a part of that as a short-term rental stager.
And how long have you been doing that as far as your business? When did you first get into it?
I've been doing it for about 3 years now.
Yeah. So you kind of jumped in before it really became, I think it really took off last year was, I saw really like a real
Yes.
big boom in properties
Mhm.
becoming short-term rental and the importance of not just, see, before people just got like garage sale or Salvation Army looking stuff and throw them in a property and rent it out because they thought,
Yes.
I don't want my stuff to get trashed. And those days are gone.
Right.
Now they're
Right.
more,
And a lot of that stemmed from the crash that you're talking about, people wanting to make money to pay their mortgage because
right.
maybe they lost their job, or, the market had a turn, and it was an opportunity for them to make a little bit of extra revenue, and they would use like old furniture like from their college or Goodwill and things like that. But we know with resale, with staging, that it's about appearance and that about impressions. So I go into detail in the class for sure, those things that are important to consider when working with a short-term rental owner, and how to entice guests.
Right. And because it's all about the money. Because
Yes,
there's so many
absolutely.
properties available with short-term rentals. You don't want yours to be like the last one that gets picked. You want to be the first one that gets selected, and it can be very
Exactly.
profitable for people. So I'm excited to hear, how to add that niche. And the reason it's important, we are putting this panel together, is because when COVID hit, if a stager only, for example, did occupied houses, let's say that was your niche, and then you couldn't
Right.
go into occupied houses, you have no money, you have no
Right.
income stream. And so it's important to diversify and add different niche services that are outside of the resale property market. And so all the things we're teaching on are that way, because even June with the seniors, it's not just about selling their house. There's a whole thing you can do is transition, move, work with them and get their assisted
Right.
living place set up or their apartment. There's a lot you can
Mhm.
do with these different niches. And um, certainly color consultations is one of those that there is another niche that could be done. And Joanne Leonard does such a great job
Mhm.
teaching on color. And she and
Mhm.
Sandra will be speaking on trends on the first day on September 29th. So,
Mhm.
um, but it's allows you to diversify. So after 3 years, how much of your business would you say is short-term rental versus regular staging?
Well, I'll say about 40% is
Mhm.
short-term rental, which is perfect. I love vacant staging, and most of the stagings I do for short-term rental are also vacant, where I go in and source everything from, the floor up. So that's right
And
in
you're
line
there,
with what.
yeah, and you're there in Atlanta. So do you end up going to the Mart a lot? Do you shop directly from there? Or do you have just your other suppliers?
I do. I use Amazon Prime as one of my major suppliers. I do go to the market because I haven't built up enough business on that side. It's hard to buy in bulk the things I need, because it could be different from house to house. But there are things like towels and bedding, things like that, I can get through them. I also use local sources. I will also say that Court Furniture, this is a little tip out there that's for free. They have really good items for sale. They also have rental, but they also have items for sale that, as a stager, if you want to include in your inventory, but also as a short term rental owner, if you want to go there and purchase items like sheets and towels and sleeper sofas and things like that. They have really good prices as well.
Yeah, and I heard Amazon. I just read that they got approval from the FAA that they can actually fly drones now. Be
Wow.
pretty big drone that they're gonna be able to carry a couch, right?
Yeah, that drone will not work for me.
Oh, yeah, they're gonna start doing drone delivery. That's gonna be so weird the first time I see this little thing flying with like a box with
No.
little things and it's gonna drop it off at someone's house. But I
Yes.
just saw that yesterday. They finally got clearance for that. So and I
It'll be
read
like
somewhere
the
it's
Jetsons.
exactly.
Remember the
Well, I was just gonna say that,
Yeah.
and I read in Japan they have a flying car. They
Oh,
have the first flying. I know, which is kind of scary to
wow.
think about that. Yeah, their first flying car. So we're not. Yeah, you said the Jetsons. We're not too far. I want
We're
the
not too
hoverboard.
far.
I want the hoverboard from like Back to the Future. I think that'd be fun. So let's also talk about what you're doing with. So Amy is also our Southeast Regional Director for IHOSP, and she's a great connector. And so you have been working with. It's a group on Facebook that's the Southeast Regional Stagers Group. Is that what it's called?
Yes. And, we're still developing that and trying to get more people connected. If you're in the Southeast region, please get on that Facebook page. When COVID started in March, I started doing a weekly call with all the stagers here in Metro Atlanta, and it was very popular. With us getting busier back in the swing of things, we haven't been doing them as often, but I want to start doing it for our region and having at least a monthly call at the bare minimum, so that we can connect, inspire, encourage, and help through. We are a community, and we are meant to lift each other up. I like that quote that you had about fear and rising up. We're not guaranteed any business in the future, but we can earn it. We can help each other with creative ideas and be that community for each other.
And you don't have to be an IHOS member to be part of that group. So it's a general staging group, and
Right.
of course we have our IHOS chapter in Atlanta and so forth. And Amy, the
Mhm.
Southeast Regional Director, so she goes from I think you're from Virginia down through Florida to her
Yep.
region. So, but this is great to have, and I think it's great to have a community like that, and I'd like to see more of them pop up as far as groups where people are sharing, and it doesn't matter if you're part of this group or that group or another group. It's basically that we're in the same area, and so let's talk about how we can support each other with what's going on, and whether it's project
Yeah.
sharing. Or I spoke to a stager last week that she doesn't want to do vacant houses; she just wants to do occupied or help with people like home makeovers. And so I'm
Right.
like, well, if you get requests for vacant, we'll take those. You could help do the hands-on. She doesn't want to have to get inventory and so forth, but there's an
Right.
opportunity to collaborate, and we are a community.
Exactly.
We are a community. We need to lift each other up. And I mean, the world has so much going on that's, uncertainty and negativity, and, all the violence and so forth that's happening. And it's just,
Right.
we can't forget that, we do want to support each other. So I love that you're doing that.
Well, thank you. I've been staging for 13 years, since 2007, and one thing I have learned is I call my people in Atlanta, they're my colleagues. They're not my competitors. And we have a really good community here. We have developed through, just connecting, like I said, knowing who we are. And the bottom line is there is more business out there than one of us can handle anyway.
Right.
So the mentality that I want to encourage stagers, be a colleague, not a competitor. You will be more prosperous. You will have those connections. Like Jenny was saying, if someone, I can't stand doing occupied, so having someone that wants to do occupieds, that would be a relief for me. That can help me grow that side of the business and help that stager as well. So that's what we talk about in these meetings that we have as well.
Yeah. And I totally agree with that. There's people, when people approach the industry with fear of competition or feeling like, and there's people that have admitted like they look at everybody as their competition, they get really negative about that, like, they're going to
Mhm.
take business from me, I can't talk to that person, or you lose a job to somebody else or a project because of whatever factor. It could be price, it could be availability, it could be relationship or whatever, and then you get angry at that other person. It's like, it's so stupid. Just do the best you can do. And we got like 9 requests for new staging projects just on Monday. And so I know I'm not going to nab all 9. Nobody bats 1,000. And so we'll do our proposals, and, I hope to get at least 60 to 70% of those. We'll work on those with the client. But, nobody gets everything they go after. And for whatever variety of reasons, someone else might get hired. And it's not worth it to look at everybody like negative competition, because you can learn from each other, and we can be resources for each other too. So,
Exactly.
attitude matters a lot with that. That's a huge, and I think that goes back to a foundation, a training, or whatever. If the people are taught or come from a place where they're around other negative people who, have that same mindset, then that's how they're going to behave as well, versus being around a group that's more open and sharing. And
Right.
that was one of the biggest things that when I got into staging versus design that I heard, because designers back then, it was competitive. It was like, figure it out for yourself. I'm not going to tell you my
Mhm.
secrets, because they felt like they would lose business. And so thankful that that didn't transfer over to the staging side, because we were all trying to figure it out, to find our place in the real estate industry. And so there just isn't that whole, negative piece of it. I'm not going to say there aren't people that purposely undercut or do things to try to take business. Kevin actually was telling me that he has 2 stagings he was doing. One was a $12,000 staging, one was a 15. And so he's
Mhm.
been getting these really big whale, clients type of thing.
Yeah.
But he also had this woman in his market that she had this fixed rate price for staging that wasn't enough. So she was like the low ball leader. So she got a lot of business in his town. And he was like, do I have to move away? I mean, I can't even get business in my own town. And it's like, over time, that person gets figured out. And so what's finally
Yeah.
happened is the realtors are like, this person doesn't transition her inventory. Her staging quality is not good, and they're unhappy. And so now they're coming to him and saying, do you actually bring, and this, and the realtors also have to, I guess, carry accessories and so forth, because this person doesn't do that. She, I guess, provides the furniture. And so
Oh,
they're tired of having to do that. And he does the whole package. So he said the first staging, the realtor was like, oh my God, what a difference. I'm so happy. Thank you so much. And so eventually, people
yeah.
that do lowball, or their quality isn't there, they'll eventually get found out, and they'll stop getting business because the word gets out. And then, you stick to your standards. So I was proud of Kevin. He didn't lower himself down to her standards. He stayed where he was, provided the same great work, and now he's attracting those clients that thought cheaper was better, and it's not. So,
Well, we have those conversations too in our calls, and we talk about how we are setting a standard. What
right.
standard do you want our industry to have? It needs to be reflective. And sometimes that means you have to modify your pricing.
Mhm.
I mean, I have priced lower and had people tell me, you were lower. Can you offer me the same amount of quality? And at that point, I could, but I also immediately started raising my prices because I'm no dummy, right?
Right.
And I was like, do you want me to increase my price? And they laughed, but I did start increasing my prices, and that opens the door up for, doing um, better better stagings, having better furniture and
Right.
accessories, and being able to do multiple types of properties. If you have a mid-century modern or a traditional or a more transitional or a farmhouse, you can open yourself up to do more types of projects when you price appropriately as well, which
Right.
helps with our creativity. Because one thing I love about staging is it allows me to be creative.
Yeah, and one of the houses the team staged yesterday, I give the price to the realtor, and she was like, "Oh, I thought it was going to be more." And I'm like, "I can charge you more,"
Exactly.
you know.
I'm
So
happy to do that. I
yeah,
always say that. I can do
I'm happy
that.
to charge you more.
If that earns your business, I'll do that right now.
And I look here a minute, and all she teaches, she's like, people will say to her, well, "How much is this going to cost me?" And she'll say, "Honey, I'm going to charge you as much as I possibly can. You're my golden ticket out of here." And it's just the way she does it with her drawl, her North Carolina drawl, and it's just the way she says it. It's just like, it
That's
makes me
funny.
laugh because the clients, it's like, when we ask about price, especially on the phone, you haven't even seen a house yet. It's like, I need to see the
Right.
property. I'm experienced enough that I can give a range, but I'm like, don't lock me into that. We really have
Um,
to see the house and in order to give you an accurate price. But I think it's, the way that it's a crapshoot. It's an art and a science on how to price. That'll be my topic at the conference is the pricing and value. Um, um, you
yes.
know, not competing on price, how else can you add to your overall package so that it's the value that you bring, not just are you the cheapest? And so, and that's all about mindset. And I think
Right.
fear drives a lot of the mindset of pricing where people feel like they have to be the cheapest. It's because they're afraid they're not going to get hired if they charge a certain amount. And so they don't even test the waters. And so I always leave the door open with clients, like, I send the proposal
Mhm.
up and then got to follow up and I'll let them know how does the pricing look compared to the budget. And clients will come back and they say, well, we were hoping, you know, to do it for this amount. And I always have
Right.
wiggle room in my proposals. And so I take a look and say, what can I do for that? And one of the things I've learned from Karen too is to give them a little bit of extra. So in the proposal, let's say
Right.
there's an area that you hadn't included, but you decide to stage it anyway, and that
Yeah.
endears that client to you. So it adds the value.
Mhm.
And right now we might give them an extra bedroom just because we have a lot of we're operating about 50% of normal right now. So we do have a lot of extra. And so I can do that for a
Right.
client. And, that's
I
not a
do the
big
same
deal.
thing. And one thing I have found right now with COVID, try to put an office or a desk somewhere in the house
Yes,
because, a lot of people are working from home. Children are doing virtual learning or digital learning. And so having a little nook or something that shows, hey, you can have a little bit of privacy right here or sit here and do your work. It
absolutely.
it's desks are not that expensive, super
I
easy
found
to
a lot
do.
of desks on Facebook Marketplace because some of the
Yeah,
suppliers, um, so one of my favorite one is Overstock had this beautiful one, this glass with chrome. So
yes,
it's elegant.
I
But I
have
have found
some like that.
Yeah, I think I got two or three of those, and I've got others. Like I bought some from Coaster, and
Yeah,
Facebook Marketplace has been a great place for me to pick up desks, and for like a
and
hundred
chairs
bucks.
for your desk as well.
Yep, yep. And so we have gone from maybe I had two desks last year because we just didn't do them any offices. We probably have 15 or 20 now because almost
Yeah,
every house wants. And I am recommending like secondary bedrooms. You might consider turning that into an office slash guest room or
or
something.
put
But
a
you do have.
twin. Yeah, put a twin in there in a little desk.
Yep,
Perfect.
yeah.
Bam.
I agree. Yeah, so
Perfect.
I think that's really smart. And
Yeah.
and we have because you have to adjust, pivot, shift, all these different words that are the buzzwords. Um,
Yes.
and I'm really hoping that as we turn into the fall, and I'm excited that we've got a few little leaves on our trees now. They're just turning yellow. And last year we got
Yeah.
gypped out of fall. We didn't have. It was September. It snowed. It got really really cold here, and everything froze. So then
Yeah.
after the snow melted, the trees just turned brown. The leaves and
Yeah.
they all fell off. So we didn't have any color, which is disappointing. But it's my favorite time of the year. But I'm also thinking like as we head into winter, I don't know what to expect. I don't know what to anticipate for the
It's gonna be
economy.
crazy. It's
I know.
2020.
Yeah, and it's an election year too, so that's always even more
Yeah.
fun. Um,
Yeah.
I will say that with the interest rates, being able to purchase our interest rate is I think 2.75%.
Awesome.
Isn't
That's
that
great.
amazing? So
Yes.
low. Yeah. And so the amount that we're paying for the house, insurance, taxes, and so forth is less than what we're paying to rent.
That's wonderful.
Yeah. So it's yeah, but it'll be interesting. And those rates, who knows if they'll stay low? And that's the thing that the financial people do to kind of I don't want to say manipulate the economy, but when you can keep that low, it encourages people to get into home ownership and to be able
Right.
to afford things. So it's a difference. Um, I don't see Amber. Amber messaged me. She said she was on, and then technology wasn't her friend. So I'm looking on my phone here. So it says, uh, oops. Um, because it said because she was trying to come on, but I was doing my intro, so I
Yeah,
just
she
messaged
left a
her.
little message, but I guess she disconnected.
Yeah, she needs to come back on. She needs to come back. Amber.
Hit the link again.
Yeah, come back on the link. So Amber, if you're watching, I always do announcements first. You were trying to come on during my announcement time. That's why I didn't accept
You
you.
just gotta
But
wait. You just gotta
I
wait in
think
the queue.
you just gotta wait in the studio. So Amber is doing a joint session with Mary Ann Cherico, and their topic is about marketing wonderful, authentic you, which I love that topic. And
Yes.
so that's going to be really, really great. So
That
marketing,
is the secret to good
yeah,
marketing is
yeah.
being genuine.
And finding something that makes you different, whether it's the type of properties you target or your style or just even something in your background. And when we talk
Right.
about marketing, what's something that makes you different. It doesn't have to be related to staging. It could just be something you did in your past life. And even teaching
Yeah.
classes, there's people that'll say, well, I was an auditor in my past career. And so that doesn't translate into staging. And so I said, well, it sure does. Think about how you can use that. And she goes, well, I'm detail oriented, so I'm going to notice the details.
Attention to detail. That's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah, and so
Yeah.
you can flip it into a positive. So what was your
Yeah.
background before you got into staging? I've never asked you that before.
Me? I was a stay-at-home mom who homeschooled her kids.
Me too.
Yep.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I went to college to be for information systems, but then I started getting pregnant. I was married, and so I finished that, but I didn't ever get into the career. And so I fell in love with it. I was watching HGTV and Lisa Laporta and Clive, and fell in love with Design to Sell. Remember that
Mm-hmm.
show back in the
Yep.
day? And that was, I think, in 2006, 2007. And Sabrina Sotos, she had her show as well. And in 2007, I was like, let's do this. And have been doing it ever since.
Yes, and that's interesting, yeah, because I had come home. I worked in corporate and environmental for environmental companies that did like risk assessment and Superfund cleanup, and so we had toxicologists and epidemiologists and occupational health physicians and engineers and stuff, and I did marketing. So
Yeah.
I came out of right from college, got married, moved to San Francisco, got my first job with one of these companies, and did that until I had Lauren. That was 1994, and then came home and I was a stay-at-home mom. And in 2002 is when I decided to start staging. And so, same thing, I was homeschooling the kids, and I did that during the day and trying to squeeze. Started building the business, and I just knew I didn't want to go back out into corporate. Was looking for something to do flexible from home that was
Right.
use my creativity. I'm on a live broadcast, you guys. Sorry, they're talking by the refrigerator.
Well, I also did teach when I was homeschooling. We were a member of a co-op, and I taught high
You
school and
do,
middle school drama. And I was yeah, I
right?
also did improv on the side. So I did do theater
Mm-hmm.
along the way. So I'm very dramatic. And when you talk about staging to people, I use my experience from theater. Everything. Where's the eye? Where's the audience?
Right. How
And
to
it
appeal to that
makes
audience. And
exactly.
from
And who
even
is
from the audience's perspective, because even things like when people put things on a counter or on like a coffee table, it's like the person
yeah,
coming in is the buyers. You need to orient them so they see the front of the book, not the back of the book.
exactly.
It's just little things like that
Yes,
people don't think about. Yeah,
exactly. And also, who is the audience? There's two
right,
audiences. The first audience is the camera,
right,
and the second audience is the buyer coming through and either virtually online looking at photos or in person. So
right.
you have to remember how to stage things so that you're grasping both audiences.
And then I did a co-op too with homeschooling. So I taught Spanish and what else did I teach? Spanish, and I don't know, did I do art? I think I did art. And then another mom did like science. She'd bring like the lamb's eyeball and butterfly things that cocoons, and she'd teach that aspect of it. But yeah, so it was fun, doing that. And um, we didn't have anybody teaching drama. That would have been fun for the kids to
Yeah,
learn to
it
learn
was very
that.
good.
Yeah,
We had a very good drama program.
and I think with the whole perspective, even like when people put trays on beds, if they have a book,
Yeah,
oftentimes they'll be like, if I'm reading the book in bed, it's going to be facing me. If the person's coming in the room, you got to have it facing the outside, with
exactly.
outside the edge of the bed. So I think there's a lot of that. And even how people come into rooms or how they go through a house, we'll teach, somebody walks in and they could go right or left. Most likely they're going to go right because most people are right-handed. And that's
Right.
even like, In a movie theater, if you can go right or left, most people are going to go right to get to their chairs. So I'll automatically go left so I can get. Okay, there won't be as many
better
people.
seats.
Now you get the assigned seats, which is nice. But how they
Well,
access the room.
and then with theater, you're cheating things out. So, like when the builders don't put the lights centered like they're supposed
The
to,
dining
because
room,
builders
exactly.
don't know how to center lights apparently.
Right.
It's a just a flaw that they have across the board.
It's
You
so
have to cheat.
frustrating.
You have
Yeah.
to cheat the table out. You don't have to center the table necessarily under the light. If the window, it would be better to center it under the window.
Right.
Just because of photography and everything like that, you can cheat it out. The photographer can take it from an angle that, you know,
Right.
hides that as well.
Yeah, because that's the whole thing of the old swag with the light fixture. There's so many times, and it's like builders, they really need to have like a mom or a homeowner working with them on their floor plans because they'll put the light right in the middle of like a kitchen nook, but there's a slider that goes out. And so if you put
Yeah.
the table right where the light is, you can't get to that, you know,
Right.
access. It's crowded. If they just would have offset it and kept a natural pathway through, that makes more sense. Yeah, there's a lot of things that I get frustrated about, even like laundry rooms without tall storage. Or where am I going to put my vacuum cleaner in a cabinet? So then you end up cramming it in the hall closet or something because there's no tall cabinet for a broom, a dustpan, or whatever, or the
Mhm.
vacuum cleaner. So things like that with home renovation or home design, you really need to be talking to people that actually are going to live in the house. The practical stuff.
Exactly. Yeah,
Practical stuff.
that's right.
So what else is going on with you in business? Because I don't think Amber's going to make it here. So let's talk about marketing. What other things do you do to market yourself for your business?
Well, I recently had an opportunity to I work with investors mostly. So one of the investors I work with he also owns a marketing company. And so I bartered with him for a staging. I charged them what I needed to cover all my costs, basically. And then the profit extra side, we bartered for marketing services. And I have really enjoyed working with them and using a marketing company for the first time.
What did they do for you?
They do my social media,
Hmm.
basically.
That's
So my
cool.
Instagram, and which also converts to Facebook as well. And I've really enjoyed it. They've surprised me. We're still working through some of the kinks because, they have to learn what my expectations are. I remember one of the times they did one for me and they didn't use I sent them like all my pictures of all my work. And I said,
Right,
you have to use my work. Anything that I use in marketing has to be a reflection of things that I actually do, right? Because that's just ethics right there.
right.
And so they did one and they did like this little movie scene, but it wasn't of any of my work. And I deleted it. And I said, you have to use my work. I've been preaching this to people for almost 13 years. So if one person sees that and they're like, Amy's not practicing what she's preaching,
Right.
I'll look bad, and I can't do that. That's just not how I roll. And so, there's that little learning curve, right? That we've been working through, but I've been pleased,
Yeah,
and
I
it's
started
fun.
using GoDaddy Social, so they do the
Oh,
branding packages that we have. I'm using them for 3 different entities, and so it's been a learning curve for them too, to even understanding, like for example, iHospice associations. They kept trying to send me brand packages that had nothing to do with the association. It was like training or staging, and I'm like, we're not a staging company; it's an association. So the pictures they wanted like a color fan deck or something. I'm like, it's not. That doesn't go for the association. So it's an education for the marketing people that don't
yeah,
always understand our industry. But it's nice to have somebody else doing that. And I don't know if I touched on this last week or I was teaching it, but the whole Google My Business. So I want to do a whole session on that because it's like a secret weapon for your
right.
business. Now, GoDaddy Social doesn't post to that. I said, well, why not? It's just like Facebook or Instagram. You do a post, you do hashtags and so forth. It's not like I'm asking you to go to my Google profile and try to post something. It's actually a separate social media thing, and you can have a website and services, and it's very easy to set up. And so I'll tell you, every time I post to that platform, I get leads. People go to my site, they
And what's that
contact me.
called? Google My Business?
Google My Business. Yes, it's my secret weapon.
Nice.
So it'll drive you up in the rankings
It's not a
organic.
secret anymore.
Well, a lot of people are not using it though. I know it's out there. I just said it. Yeah. So I started test driving it because it all originated with Picasa. So years ago, Picasa was the photo management that was owned by Google, and you could do watermarks, you could embed, you could do slideshows, and I really
Right.
liked using it. And then they took that and they converted everything into Google Plus. So all my pictures were getting sucked into Google Plus, and I was irritated. So I thought, I like having my albums. I like being able to, control the colors and
Right.
so forth. It was sort of a combination between Google Photos and um, albums and so forth. But what happened is because they started posting all my pictures publicly on Google Plus, I think I had 1.2 million views before I realized what was going on. Public. So it wasn't circles. Like the circles were like Facebook, groups and friends. That was an epic fail. But the Google Plus public profile aspect could drive you up in the rankings organically. And so that's what happened. And then, of course, last year or 2 years ago, there was a security breach with Google Plus, and so then they got rid of it last August, so a year ago. And I'm
Yeah.
like, Google just wants people to advertise. They want money, right? And I'm no dummy. I know why they got rid of it. So I thought, now what am I going to do? And so Google My Business has become the next iteration of that, if you will. And what's cool about
Yeah.
it is, um, when you Google a company or you Google services or something, you'll get the list will show up, and there's always white space on the right hand side of your screen of the results. And so Google wants to fill that with something, and so that's where you're going to show up organically. They'll put results of people there, plus your ranking's going to go up organically. Because when people place ads,
Right.
your ads aren't bad.
I always skip them.
Me too, because you think like, oh, you paid to be here. You're not actually
Yeah.
legit, right? And
Yeah.
so, but if you organically show up, um, then you're more likely to get people to call and respond. So all you can put one picture, you can put a group of pictures up, you can actually have a call to action from Google My
Hmm.
Business. You can have learn more, call me. So there's different things that can act right from the post, and the whole thing is it's the hashtags that you put in because those translate into the
Yeah.
words people are putting in to find you. So
Yeah.
organically, it's going to boost your rankings hugely. So I've been doing this for over a year, and it makes a huge, huge difference in being found.
Nice.
So those of you that happen to be watching this segment, Google My Business. You have to claim your business. You need to be verified. All right,
Right.
Amber's if she's here. I'll bring her in.
All
Yay.
right.
You need to be verified. So they send you a little postcard, and then once you're
Hello.
verified, you're good to go. Amber!
Hello.
I apologize. So when you tried to come in earlier, I was doing all my announcements. So I usually blab for like 15 minutes at the very beginning, and I kept seeing you popping up, but I didn't click over. So I just wanted you to wait in this. So it's not that I didn't see you. So I should have said, "Hey, Amber." I should have acknowledged because then you left. You thought, "Well, she can't see me." So anyhow, look at your
You're
hair's gotten all long too. You look
Yeah,
great.
it's what happens when you don't cut it.
Yeah.
I think
So
6 inches less would be really good.
yes, yes, you look great. So you're coming to us from Utah, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
She's in the Salt Lake. And so tell everybody who you are. And we have about 5 minutes. I'll have you come back on another session to kind of talk more about your company, but just kind of tell us who you are and give us a little nugget as far as what you're going to be talking about for the conference.
I'm so excited. My name is Amber Griffiths. I'm from Utah. My company is Your Brand by Design, and I am a brand strategist. And what we get to talk about with iHouse, I'm so excited because it's one of my favorite parts of branding, which is your persona. It's how you show up, and more than just how you're showing up, but why you are showing up in a way that your brand gets to be there before you are. And it gets to make an impression in a way that people sing your song long after you've left the stage. It's pretty stinking cool.
That's
Yes.
awesome. And you'll be doing a joint session with Marianne. And so they're going to have their session will be run two different times because it's important that it's two different, I should say, let me clarify that. I think you're in the beginner and you're also in the intermediate category. They'll
Yes.
have their session will run in the beginners and
Wonderful.
it'll also be available to the intermediate. And of course, the intermediate advanced and then the advanced people can watch it as well at your leisure. You just don't have it as part of your segment. So have you already recorded your segment with Joseph?
Nope, I'm still playing. I recorded my teaser, so that should be out there. I'm
Yeah.
recording my segment tonight or tomorrow.
Yeah, Amy, you got to get your teaser done too.
I did it while I was waiting on you.
Oh, good.
And I sent it to Joseph.
He's a genius at that.
because it said 11:30 on the flyer, so I was ready to go, and I was like, I'm just not going to sit here. I should look into my teasers that I'm supposed to be doing.
That's
So
awesome.
hopefully he has that, and yeah.
He's doing a
And I'm
great
going to
job of
do
all.
the same thing as Amber. I'm going to either do it tonight or tomorrow.
Yeah,
My
and I have.
actual recording.
He's going to fly out here on the 14th, so we have a little trip we're taking from the 9th to the 13th as a family. It's like our first vacation in 2 or 3 years, but he's going to come on the 14th, and I haven't even frameworked mine. I mean, I know I can talk about stuff, but I got to get it going, and he's going to want to film all this stuff, and I'm like, hair's got to look good, and what are we going to do? And I'm like, I can't be
You'll be
outside. There's like wind blows.
amazing.
It's going to be great.
He went to
There's
the
quite a
warehouse, and
unit,
like,
as per usual.
yeah, because the last time he was here, I didn't have the warehouse. So that was last fall. And then November, we got our warehouse and then we expanded. So we could film some stuff from there, which will be good. But, I'm really excited to see how the segments are coming together and, that they're pre-recorded, but then we'll have the live option for Q&A at the end of every session for the speakers. And part of the reason I was sort of like, I wanted to do everything live, but then I sort of got talked into the pre-recorded because live can be tricky if technology fails. If there's any kind of glitches, that can be really problematic for the people who paid. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm excited. Joseph
Yeah.
is a
Content
professional.
download is starting. Some phones
Yeah.
require
Sorry.
additional
Okay.
confirmation. Please check your phone.
Sorry,
She's
my
got a nice
daughter.
voice.
My daughter walked near my car and she's connected to the Bluetooth in the car.
Oh, that's funny.
That's funny.
So Amber, and you're doing it with Marianne, correct? Your joint
Yes.
session.
Yes.
So we all love Marianne, so I got to have her on the show as well. And so we'll have you come back because I want people to know want more about what your company offers because we were talking about marketing and branding, and even understanding what is branding as far as your color is everything basic from your colors, your fonts, and so forth as far as consistent for material development and posting. But beyond that, it's also
It's all the
content you're putting out there. Yeah.
It's all the content, your courses, your personality showing up. It's your relationships with people. It's your relationships with all of your resources, time, money, talents. That's all part of persona and your brand. And there's absolute direct connection to your revenue. So yeah,
So
it's good.
So do you actually
Oh,
do
I'm
that? Do you
excited.
manage that for people, or you just teach them how to do it?
We create the strategies for you. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So you understand exactly what you're doing moving forward, so that you have all the pieces in place, and then we just build on it. Because I mean, branding is one of those things that's never done. It gets to live and evolve with you, which is
Right.
really cool. So yes, it's creating the strategies so that it's not just a bunch of stuff out there, a lot of one-offs. It really does create momentum and create a following for you. It creates community.
Which is really cool.
That is
So
It's
amazing.
do you ever do a thing where you can assess somebody's existing website and their social media presence? Do you analyze that and then tell them this is what you need to fix and
absolutely.
this is how we can help you?
We do what I call a brand sound check because after all, it's all about music almost always. And we go through and just poke holes and say, here's the 5 places where you could easily flip this little thing or change this little word and it would just tighten right up. What's happened, I think, and it's not so much just because of COVID, but always, sometimes our brands make our butt look big because they just didn't evolve, like they're just not fitting quite well. And so it's time to shorten and fix them.
Does this brand make my butt look big? Put a segment on that.
No, honey, you look great.
You look great, but your brand is saggy just a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. Saggy. You gotta get a new pair of pants. That's a good analogy.
Get your skinny jeans on.
Yeah, I don't think I ever wore skinny jeans.
No problem.
I've got a whole bin of jeans that I wore but BK before kids. And I'm like, I don't know why I'm hanging on to them. I think someday I'm going to get back into them, but by the time I ever would fit into them, they're not even in style anymore. So I think I need to get rid of them.
I was gonna say, are your kids
They'll be in the retro section.
Exactly, the retro section, and now it's like the jean leggings. So because I haven't worn jeans in forever, but I've got a pair of jean leggings that got pockets and stuff, because they're more comfortable. I never did feeling totally constricted.
Anything with
Danger
pockets,
friendly.
it has to have pockets.
Yes,
Yeah.
I actually found these leggings. They're called I can't think of the name. They're like Nidal or something, Nidal, but they're They've got a nice thick waistband. They're for yoga things, which I don't do yoga. They have pockets on both sides, so I can put my cell phone and carry stuff around. They're awesome. So I've invested in 2 pairs because I test drive a lot of the leggings and the capris and stuff, and so that's a good brand. But yeah, pockets. It's all about pockets.
Oh, yeah. I don't think they're actually yoga jeans anymore. I think they're actually called podcast jeans and Zoom call jeans. Those are the
Exactly.
ones.
Instead of the freshman 15, it's the COVID 10.
Yeah.
Just want to make sure you're wearing some pants.
Exactly.
Yes.
Although right now you couldn't tell if we were wearing pants or not. I hope you're wearing pants, Amy, because you're in your car. But I could be bottomless and nobody would know. But I'm wearing my leggings, which is great. So, well, Amber, we got the technology figured out. So we'll have you come back on. I'm so excited to have you coming and sharing at our conference. And her teaser is out. You guys can take a look at that. And she's so knowledgeable. She's so you're so positive. Both you guys, your energy is so wonderful. And I just value both of you being part of our IHOSP family and being able to share at our conference. And I know our attendees are going to learn so much from you both. And so just thank you so much for being on the show. We are, believe it or not, out of time. I can't believe it.
No.
So thank you, Amy, and thank you, Amber, A&A. My middle name starts with A. It's Adrian.
Oh, wow. We're AAA here. That's nice.
Yay.
So thanks everybody, and thanks for everybody for tuning in. Share this segment with other people if you're watching. If you can share it to your page, it allows us to reach as many people as possible. And keep your eyes out for our special we'll be offering for scholarships for the conference. So again, if you have somebody, if you or somebody you know would like to attend and needs a little help with that, you can submit them. You just got to follow the instructions that we'll be posting on social media, and we'll be able to get them registered. So thanks everybody. We'll see you next week. Actually, not going to see you next week. I'm going to be in a car driving for 10 hours. So there will be no show next week. The following week, we will be live again. So thanks everybody for tuning in. Have a great rest of your week. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.